Coffee and Conversation. My name is Karen. I'm one of your recovery coaches.
And welcome again. My name is Craig. I'm also a recovery coach here at Capital Recovery Center.
Welcome. My name is Michael, one of your recovery coaches.
On Wednesday, Ro will be out at 705 East Wood Street in Vineland at the Community Hub at downtown Delhi. Same time, 10 to 2.
Yeah.
Any other announcements?
What else we got, Mr. Dangle?
Well, you can always tune in Thursday as well for our all recovery meeting, virtual, that is, and many pathways to recovery that we'll be discussing. And I don't want to put the
shameless plug,
the carrot before the horse. So,
all right, what we got today?
Well, we got a beautiful article. I don't know who discovered it, but we're gonna get into this.
How to turn negative thoughts into positive thoughts. This is something that's very important.
Very important
for everybody, not just people in the field of addiction, but in life in general. We always try to do things that's pertains to everybody, not just people with substance use disorder.
Mm-hmm.
But this handout came from exploringyourmind.com website. I'll put the link in the description, so if you would like to go get it and print it out just like we did, you're able to, and you're able to use it to help in your own personal edification or in a group setting like we're doing right now. We thank all the places that we're able to find good content and use for our coffee and conversations and all recovery meetings. So let's see what we got here. We're going to go through, if you're tuned in, just make sure you share the link to other individuals so they'll be able to join in as well. It says, having a reoccurring negative and obsessive thoughts in our mind can make us feel like we're submerged in some kind of black hole. We don't see the light and we can't help but feel hopeless. Therefore, knowing how to turn negative thoughts into positive ones is not a need, but a tool for survival. Learning to do this and applying it on our daily lives reduces feelings of anxiety and allows us to move forward, always forward, not back. Experts in emotional psychology says that it's permissible to have up to 3 negative thoughts a day. I was talking about attitude. I was thinking about the credo actually, and I was talking about attitudes more important than facts. That thing's important. At the end of the day, it's not about seeing life through rose-colored glasses, avoiding reality and letting our fears and worry get the best of us. The key to this is not letting ourselves be carried away by those thoughts. More often than not, make it impossible for us to feel capable of overcoming difficulties and growing on a personal level. What this paragraph is simply saying is just because you have these negative thoughts, you don't need to allow those thoughts to be overcome by those negative thoughts. Carrying out the thoughts is the problem. You might have bad thoughts or whatever type of thoughts you want to label them, but you don't have to be overcome by those thoughts. We've all been victims of this. Sometimes we experience thoughts that tell us things such as, you're not worth it, you're going to fail, or it doesn't matter how hard you try, you won't succeed. All of us at some point in time experience thoughts like, we don't feel like we were worth who we knew we would really are worth. And we always felt like we was going to fail at something, even though we probably was going to succeed. And it doesn't matter from any of us. We all had these times. We're all human, and it's not uncommon for our minds to wander and sabotage us every once in a while. This is so important because I remember doing a teaching one time in Atlantic City, and the title of it was Held Back by My Own Insecurities. And it was talking about me holding myself back because of the thoughts or the negative thoughts that I was having. And the reason why I wasn't advancing in my life in any area did not have to deal with other people or outside sources. It was the negative thoughts that I was having. And so I was teaching people how I was held back by my own insecurity. So you can be held back too by your negative thoughts.
You were saying something, Mike.
What's that?
I think it was yesterday. You said a guy was telling Steve Harvey something, and he wanted to do something,
But he wasn't doing it. He kept
procrastinating.
Yeah, he kept saying what he was going to do.
What he's going or what he wanted.
What he wanted to do, but Steve Harvey told him, just do it. What do you mean? You've been holding yourself back by, oh, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Just do it. Sometimes, now we're going to skip that.
Okay. Let's get into this first one. It says, learn to turn negative thoughts into positive ones. I'm going to read some of this. Okay. I'll probably read it all. Then we'll jump in. The negative emotional state ends up feeding on the negative thoughts it produces. Let's read that again. A negative emotional state ends up feeding on the negative thought it produces. That's very important. This is something most of us understand but don't always perceive. The reason for this is that we don't really give ourselves the time or use the adequate strategies we need in order to fight these harmful emotions correctly. And so sometimes the way we think can give us the wrong outcome, if I may add. For example, when we get home from work, we tend to feel exhausted, bothered, and worried. Due to discomfort we feel, we prefer to ignore those emotions instead of getting to the bottom of them. They call that sweeping stuff under the rug.
Sweep it under there.
And we don't want to sweep things under the rug. We want to address them and figure out why we are having these negative thoughts or emotional states. Some people might disagree, but the truth is that those black holes we sink into will get bigger and bigger if we don't take control of the situation. I remember once someone told me, say, if you don't address the situation and you keep holding on to it, it's gonna, like the article says, it's gonna get bigger and bigger, and then you're gonna lash out, you're gonna explode, you're gonna do something counterproductive. So,
and sometimes the person that you explode on don't be the person who's called. It be just the person close to you. And you explode on the people that's just, because it's always the person that's connected to you or who's close to you, they get the benefit if it's good fruit or bad fruit. They either way they reap whatever is going on with you.
Blown under the blow.
Yeah, they get it.
Day by day, those negative emotions continue to change our internal emotional balance and the quality of our thoughts. Discomfort and frustration give place to those mental patterns where only negative and obsessive thoughts arise. If they aren't controlled, bigger problems such as depression or anxiety disorder might emerge.
I love the beginning of it when it says a negative emotion feeds on the negative thoughts. So when you have these negative emotions going on in our lives, no matter what area of our lives we're having or we're experiencing these negative emotions, you can always pinpoint that those negative emotions are feeding on negative thoughts. So if it's feeding off of our negative thoughts, that's when we got to put some positive thoughts in our mind to uproot those negative emotions. They need the negative emotions that you're experiencing need the negative thoughts. So if it's just negative thoughts going on in your mind, then it's no shock that our emotions are showing us what we're experiencing in our head. All right, let's go. Where we at?
Identify negative thoughts.
In 2012, the University, did you want me?
No,
University of Rhode Island published a very interesting study in a magazine. Their goal was to discover how negative thoughts affected each age group. The results were very clear. It doesn't matter if we were young or old. These psychology realities psychological realities produce anguish and are often the trigger for many diseases. First off, a key strategy for transforming negative thoughts into positive ones is knowing how to identify negative dialogues. This may surprise us at first, although it's very evident. More often than not, we don't realize just how self-ordinated we are to obsessive, negative, and lifting thoughts. So the negative dialogue, that's the stuff that's going in our head. And remember in the beginning, we were talking about you're going to fail, you're going to do this. This is the dialogue. This is not only the dialogue that the thoughts that we're having, we're starting to answer the thoughts. Dialogue means it's something cool. You responding to the negative thoughts. You know, you got to respond to the negative thoughts, if anything, with positive affirmation. We must know how to detect negative thoughts. Something that could be a great help to you is having a journal where you write down everything that comes to your mind during the day. Yo, I got on an Apple phone, they had a thing called notes, where you keep your notes at. In my notes is things that goes through my mind during the course of the day. And usually people probably, we still write stuff down, but now we have technology where we can speak into our phone and they write it for us. We can write it down on ourselves if we have time. Or a lot of times when we write it down, we're able to see how our thought pattern is. This will help you be more self-aware and keep track of how you're really feeling. You gotta write them down. You gotta document them, as Miss Dawn Heaton always said. Documentation. Don't hide or block negative thoughts. Make an effort to accept them as they are. Once you detect them, it's easier for you to transform them. Ooh, that's a good tweet. I'm gonna give them credit the first time while I'm using that. Woo! Make an effort to accept them as they are. Meaning not accept the thought, but accept it as a negative thought. Once you detect them, it's easier for you to transform them. When you detect a negative thought going on in your head, you have to accept it. Don't accept what the thought is. Accept it as being a negative thought. And then once you detect that negative thought, now you can transform that negative thought into a positive thought. That's good stuff.
Contrast, refute, and weaken. I think I'll just read that a little bit.
All right.
I feel like reading today a little bit.
All right, that's cool.
Is there a justification for that negative thought? Question. Do I have any proof that demonstrates that what I'm thinking could actually happen? Another question. You must understand that just because it's a thought, it doesn't mean it's real. Just like Mike just adding on, he said, you don't have to succumb to those thoughts. Mm-hmm. Thoughts are fleeting, they come and go. It's all what you give more attention to. And so once you identify, like Mike said, you'll be able to transform from it. Wow. The mind can deceive us, right?
Yeah.
It often does us dirty. Wow. And it can let itself get carried away by fear or the need to stay in our comfort zone. Wow, that is so true. Keep track of your thoughts and look for evidence that demonstrates or contradicts each one of those ideas. So you have to counteract these thoughts. Like Mike said, with some positive interaction, positive engagement, positive thought patterns. Self-encouragement. So a lot of times we got to be our own encouragers. Yeah. You know, sometimes we might look for other people to give us that self-motivation or encouragement, and they may not give it to us because they might be dealing with their own situation, whatever may come their way. So we have to always find some type of material, journal, just find something to do to combat any negative thought, because we don't want that to transform into some negative behavior. Like Mike said, take it out on somebody don't even deserve it.
They don't know what's going. Something wrong with him.
Yeah, right.
Hey, just because it's a thought, it doesn't mean it's real. That's what he just read. He said, just because it's a thought, it doesn't mean it's real. So when you having these negative thoughts about yourself, about your situation, about your life overall, it just doesn't mean it's real because you're having them thoughts. And don't think something's wrong with you because you're having negative thoughts, because we started off and we says everybody has negative thoughts throughout the course of the day. Somebody have a negative thought, no matter if it's about their situation or about their employees. It can be something about their life in general, but people always have negative thoughts. But just because it's a thought, it doesn't mean it's real. All right.
Reformulate your thought process adequately. Redefining your thoughts in a more appropriate way always weighs negativity down. Now it's important to do it correctly and not focus on a naive and unrealistic positivity. Let's see some examples of this. You want to take turns? I'll do
Yes.
this one.
Yeah.
I'm going to get fired from my job can turn into, so far there's nothing that has proven that it's actually going to happen. I've been doing my job just fine. On the other hand, I must be prepared in case it does happen. It's important to have a plan B in case they do fire me, but for now, I'm going to focus on doing a good job.
And then I don't think my significant other loves me as much as they used to. What evidence do I have to think this way? If I really believe this, I should have a serious talk with them. I must understand that relationships take effort and commitment, and that a negative attitude will only make things worse.
And the last one says, I'm scared. I have a feeling that something bad is going to happen. What's making me feel this way? Is there something going wrong in my life right now? I must keep in mind that I'm okay and that everyone around me is fine too. I should distract myself doing something I enjoy. Perhaps I should start a new project or do something that makes me feel motivated.
Find motivation. We have to find something that motivates us. All of these thoughts are important to do correctly and not focus on the naive and unrealistic possibility of positivity. Some positivity are just unrealistic. Let's see what we got next here. Let all those negative emotions out and submerge yourself in a world of positive thoughts, positive affirmation. Meditate on these good things, whatever things are pure, whatever things are noble, whatever things are just. That's a scripture in the Bible. We pointed out at the beginning that emotions conditions the quality of our thoughts. A great strategy to stop the course of a wandering mind that obsessed with negative and fatalist thoughts is to embrace positive thoughts instead. That's something that you have to train yourself to do.
Oh yeah.
It's not something that it happens overnight. Although when I was actively using drugs and committing crime, I used to sit there and tell myself that I was better. And some of the times I thought I just said it because I was high. My friends used to be like, "No, you're not better than us." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm better than this." And then they used to be like, "You crazy." I was like, "Whatever." But I will always verbalize and say that my life won't always be like this. And I used to say it in the midst of me doing it. And I didn't know until now that I was speaking those positive thoughts into my life, even though I wasn't living that way. So that might be you right now. If your life is not matching up to what you're saying in your head and they're positive thoughts, just keep saying it. Just keep feeding your mind those positive thoughts. And I believe that your life will catch up to your words.
Mm-hmm. So instead of, for me, I was just contemplating, saying, a lot of times when I was using drugs and doing my active behavior of substance use, I would want to fit in. I want to be with the in crowd.
Yeah.
And everybody else that was on the outside, myself, I keep the focus on myself. I thought they was cornballs, come to find out, those who I thought was cornball was the positive people. You know, they was doing things and they was growing while I was decreasing in my growth pattern by using drugs. So I later on learned to say, hey, you know, I should have been with those who I consider the
cornball. The cornball was looking at you like he's stupid.
He's stupid.
Like, why you keep doing that to himself?
They had a term back in the 80s. He's a tackhead. Tackhead was somebody who just, ain't had good common sense.
Yeah.
I take my hat off to all those who chose not to take the path of using substance use disorder, because my life took a turn for the worse. But now that I'm in recovery, I thank God that things are better.
Definitely better, man. Yeah. Hey, making small changes in our daily routine can often cause an overall productive change. Small changes, minor adjustments. Don't be afraid to give yourself some time off. It'll definitely make you feel more relieved. Useful practices such as mindfulness, artistic therapies, or even meeting new people always bring enriching benefits. The mind can become negative and destructive. When this happens, there's nothing better than opening a window to let it get some oxygen, relax, get a new perspective on things. We should learn to keep our thoughts under control instead of letting them control us. Always remember the battle is between our ears. Mm-hmm. Our thought pattern is one of the most crucial things. And it's easy for our thoughts to drift when we don't have any type of firm foundation focused on something rather than just existing. Like, I have a purpose-driven mind. Like, if I don't think anything, my mind will start drifting on how can I be better. And it's not to outdo somebody. It's just that I want to be a better person than I was yesterday. What can I do to be better than I was yesterday? Can I learn something? My mind will just start thinking, I'm going to try to learn this today. So a lot of times our minds have to be controlled instead of letting our minds control us.
So another old adage, mind over matter, not matter over mind.
That's a dope.
And that is, don't let things around you take control of how you respond. You utilize the way you think in a productive way, and then you control that situation around you. But you can't control that which you can't control.
Grant me the serenity to set up things I cannot change, to carry the change of things I can, and the wisdom to know that I can't change that situation. I can only change the situation that I have the control over. The more we understand what we can control, even we definitely can control the thoughts in our mind. Everybody, so everybody has the power to control the thoughts they have. If we have bad thoughts, don't carry the bad thoughts out. Yeah. I remember a pastor, T.D. Jakes, said it, he was preaching. He said, man, everybody has bad thoughts. He said, if I put all the bad thoughts I had on the screen, y'all wouldn't want me to be your pastor. And he said, it's not that the bad thoughts, I never carried out none of the bad thoughts. But having the bad thoughts doesn't make you a bad person. Just don't carry those bad thoughts out. What else we got? If y'all got questions, anytime we do live, we're going to start taking questions. I just remembered. We're going to start leaving y'all. If y'all have questions for us in any area, put the question in the comment section. And when we see the question, we'll be able to respond on the next day's show. So if you leave questions in there, we're going to make like a sheet for our online a Q&A. And then we'll respond to the questions that we receive from the people who watch the videos. And it doesn't matter what video you comment on, it'll alert me. So it don't have to be today's. If you watch videos whenever and we went over or we discussed something and you had some comments, concerns, feedback, criticism, it don't matter. Just leave it in the comment section, and then we're gonna come back 1 week and then we'll do it for that whole like once a month or something.
Yeah. And so we want the people to know that during this time of year, which is the holiday season.
Definitely, man.
We're doing our 12,
37.
No, it's,
Come
12
on.
tips before Christmas.
Yeah, I was left half a day yesterday. I'm halfway here. Hey, the 12 tips for Christmas. Look at it on Capital Recovery Center. Today we on day. Oh, I gotta share yours.
Give 3, right?
It's yours.
Oh, we share yet?
No, it's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube?
Yeah, it's
Great.
automatic.
Wonderful,
I'm
wonderful.
talking about in the group text.
Some good information, some good stuff.
Yeah, so check them out on YouTube or on Capital Recovery Center's page.
Mhm.
All right. All right, guys. We'll see you.